it becomes so lonely that sometimes you don't even realize that you have your sunglasses on because you just want to see everyone the same. You just want to see that like you and your coworker are just the same. You want to see you and your family members just the same.
I've been telling myself this story that this is what I want because I felt like this is what I was supposed to be doing. So I told myself I wanted it, and oh, no wonder why I've been unhappy. Hey everybody, it's Bianca.
And this is Amelia.
And welcome back to another episode of Evolve Ventures, where we are making evolution possible for growth-minded humans through vulnerable lessons, stories, and technology. So, in the last episode, This is Hurting You More Than You Know, we were talking about all things cognitive distortions, thought patterns, and how the way we make meaning of the situations that we go through really cause and impact how we feel about it and therefore what we do. So if you want to learn more about that, if you know this is something that you struggle with or someone that you know and love is struggling with, send that episode over and listen to it to yourself. So today, episode 154, Are You Seeing Clearly? Amelia had suggested this episode. She had a specific situation that she had gone through, and she's like, B, I think this would be really helpful for our listeners. So it is on the lineup. We are recording that today, and I'm going to send it on over.
Send it on over this way. So the episode title is Are You Seeing Clearly? And really, when Bianca says this, like I get so jazzed up. So maybe this will hit, maybe this will miss with our audience. We'll see. But okay, so I was on a coaching call recently, and it's kind of been an interesting theme, when you sync up with your friends on your cycle, or you might sync up with your friends on what your growth things are going through, or you might like just sync up in general on some of the challenges too that you're going through with some of your friends, some of your colleagues, etc. Right. This is something when you coach, like, and you have hundreds of thousands at this point, like coaching calls underneath your belt, you start to see and notice themes within your clients. And this is something that not only has been a theme within clients, but it's also been something that's been really interesting because I've really opened up my eyes in this regard too. And I wanted to bring it forward for anyone who might tend to resonate with me a little bit more than Bianca on our show. I wanted to bring this forward for all y'all. But if you also resonate with Bianca, like definitely don't turn this one off because it will help you see more clearly as you head into 2023, which I believe is going to be super important for all of us to evolve. So I'm just going to state that out there.
Now. The pain is gone.
Yes. Okay. So, all right. So here's the thing. Like I was on a phone call with this client and we were talking about their capabilities. And this client happens to be a CEO and an entrepreneur and successful business owner and many rights. And not as effective in others. And what we got to kind of getting to in the conversation was about their effectiveness in general. And the reason why I wanted to bring this episode forward was because I've noticed this pattern coming up, not just in CEOs, not just in business owners, but in general in human beings. And this is a pattern that I want to make sure that by the end of this episode, you start to unveil within yourself to what degree you might be having this and how this might be impacting your life. Because when I was on this call, I realized how much it had impacted this person's life, so much so that it actually caused even more friction in their life than that needed to happen. It caused them more pain and more suffering and struggle that really didn't need to be there. But unfortunately, it was there because of being human. And so I want everyone to imagine like the last time you put on your sunglasses, right? And if you're like me, you might have put them on inside and then like had an inner thought, like, why did I put these on inside? Because we're not outside yet. And so it's like super dark. Like, why did I do this? This was dumb. But you still saw. It was darker than you expected, but you like had a really big pull to kind of take them off because it was like, this is an ineffective way of seeing the world. And I can't really find what I'm looking for before I leave. Who's ever been in like that situation where you're trying to leave the house and you're trying to find whatever it is before you leave and you happen to put on your sunglasses? Okay. No one. All right. Well, that's me. And a lot of us in our lives, we do this. inadvertently. We don't realize we're doing it, but it is the way in which a lot of this stuff works. So we all inherently have a deep need for belonging. Human beings in general, if you look at whether it's the greatest psychologists of the world, or you look at just in general some of the most incredible business consultants, strategists, they understand that human beings have fundamental needs. One of those biggest needs is our needs to belong. And so in order to belong, in order to assimilate, in order to become a part of the tribe, be effective, live throughout the day in a way that minimizes the pain of the differences that we all have, we end up putting on our metaphorical sunglasses. And what those sunglasses are is essentially to distort our reality of the difference between who you are, how you operate, and your level of effectiveness, and who you are engaging with, their level of effectiveness, what they can do, what they can accomplish, their current level of skill, competencies, etc. And so like this coaching client, they had put on their glasses, if you will, the sunglasses when it came to their team. And so they weren't as effective at seeing them for really where they were at in their level of effectiveness, in their level of need for belonging, in their level of skill. And so as a result of that, very much unintentionally putting them on a pedestal that he believed that they could withstand. And so many of us go around in life putting others on a pedestal that they never really earned in the first place or had merit to. So I want everyone to think about your family right now. This is where it really hits home and drives it home. We want to believe that our siblings are just like us, if we have siblings. We struggle with the fact of acknowledging their differences. We struggle with the fact of acknowledging how we might want to lead totally different lives. Why? Because it tugs at our heartstrings. That makes us feel a little bit lonely. That has us questioning, what does that look like for our future then? Are we going to be as loving and in contact as we were when we were 6 years old, when it was just us, best friends, BFFs for life? We go through life and we have to start to unveil this distortion of our reality, if you will. And that is super duper painful because we actually start to see people for where they're at. And if you're like this client that I had, and to some degree, like I said, people are more on the sunglasses front than other. But it becomes so lonely that sometimes you don't even realize that you have your sunglasses on because you just want to see everyone the same. You just want to see that like you and your coworker are just the same. You want to see you and your family members just the same, right? Because if you had to acknowledge that they actually still do X, Y, Z, which was not good for the family, or they still smoke, or they still never exercise, or they still never do the thing that they told you they would still do. You'd actually have to see them for where they're at. And that can be devastating. So I want everyone in this episode to just ask themselves, like, where might you not be seeing things clearly? Where might you be putting on those sunglasses? Where might you be looking at others who haven't merited the pedestal that you've put them on? And where has this ego come in and started to distort your reality? Because at the end of the day, you're not wrong for it. You're not bad for it. It's actually a liberating feeling when you recognize you're doing this, when you recognize it's unfair to others when you're doing this, and you recognize that it's unfair to yourself to do this.
We do this to others, but we also do this to ourselves. I mean, most of us don't see ourselves clearly either. Like, we either see ourselves as better in a certain arena than we actually are, or the majority of us, which is what we do, we see ourselves way worse than we actually are. And so we're not only perceiving the rest of the world in a distorted way, but we're seeing ourselves in this really distorted way. And I know that I have done this with myself for the majority of my life, and I'm like finally starting to chip away at those sunglasses and take them off, and it's been really humbling for me, because like I'll give a really quick example. Amelia Allen and I were on a coaching call. We were on a call like a week or two ago, and he was like asking us questions and talking about what we wanted and all of these things. And I had a major realization in that I was like, I've been telling myself this story that I want my future to look like this and I want to be doing this and this is the thing that is going to make me happy. And in that call, I was like, oh, I've been telling myself this story that this is what I want because I felt like this is what I was supposed to be doing. So I told myself I wanted it and oh, no wonder why I've been unhappy. Oh, okay. Now I can start taking action towards it. And I have. And again, wicked vague, but I'm trying to keep this quick. Most of us do this. Most of us do this. We are not perceiving ourselves accurately. We're blowing ourselves up or we're shrinking ourselves down or we're doing this to other people. And it's really causing us to have these distorted views of ourselves and the world and our place in the world. And it is hurting us. Now, I don't want to end this episode on a negative note. I want to end this on a positive. There is a way out of it. And I really believe it ties into the episode that we had before this, which is to Amelia's point, breathing and recognizing where is your body taking you when you're experiencing things. Is your heart racing out of your chest? And are you breathing really fast? And does your stomach start cramping up when you're in a certain situation with a certain person? That might be an indicator that your body is telling you something and your mind is trying to tell you something else. And then where are your thoughts taking you? Are you telling yourself this story that maybe this person is better than they actually are? Or maybe that you're worse than you are, or the inverse, or whatever it is? Because if so, the way to work on them, the concepts are simple. Just start getting aware of it. Now, it's not the easiest thing to do, but it's possible. It's possible to start changing those things. It is possible to start seeing clearly. It just takes a little proactivity.
For sure. So for anyone that wants to do a little bit more research, again, to raise your awareness, this is called the halo effect, which is also another cognitive bias. And we inherently have the halo effect on people that we have a heart for, that we care about, that we often see and spend time with. So we'll encourage you to do some research on that so that you can see more clearly. My episode suggestion would be, Why Do I Feel So Insecure? Episode 122. When you feel super insecure, you oftentimes do the horn effect or the halo effect, both cognitive distortions. B, what's your episode suggestion?
Number 52, perception versus reality. Which are you choosing?
Man, is a goodie. All right, everyone. We are grateful that you joined us in this. Hopefully by the end of this episode, you are contemplating where you're not seeing clearly, where those rose-colored glasses or sunglasses, if you're like me, are on, and how can we start to work through those? It starts with awareness. It starts with getting clear on where you're actually seeing yourself. Right? So many things to come in 2023 for Evolve Ventures and for you in the Evolve growth journey. And we're so excited for you in this new year, joining us every single week. Much love, everyone.
Bye.